As long as your sobriety is motivated by fear or it's motivated by reward, then it's safe to say that you have not made a conscious decision to be sober. What's going on, guys? This is Drew with Sobriety Daily, and today I'm asking what motivates your sobriety. So hey, if you're getting some value out of this channel, I'm going to ask that if you are getting value, that means that I have earned your subscription. Please click the red subscribe button below. If you like this video, make sure you click like, because it actually matters. And if you don't show up for me, it's going to be hard for me to keep showing up for you. So it's kind of like a give and take. Okay, so let's talk about motivational sobriety, or what motivates sobriety. So as long as your sobriety is motivated by fear or it's motivated by reward, then it's safe to say that you have not made a conscious decision to be sober. So when we think about sobriety, we really have to make the decision on our own because it's the right thing to do for us. Sobriety really is not about something like, I'm afraid that I'm gonna go to jail. I mean, that's okay. It does have value, but it is not sufficient to keep you sober. So it's not just about what motivates you to get sober, it's also about what's gonna motivate you to actually stay sober, or better yet, just what's gonna motivate you to stay sober today. So now that we know this, so when you think about your sobriety, you're gonna be like, okay, why am I choosing to not go into the bar right now? And hopefully it's just really simple. It's like, because I have something better to do, like go home and read bedtime stories to my kids, or because I have to be at work and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, why are you choosing to stay sober today? Well, hopefully it's because you just have other things to do. And so one of the things for the motivation for getting sober, like when we first kind of get there, is that we learn to love ourselves. We learn to see ourselves as our higher power sees us. Right? We learn how to surrender who we are, and we learn how to surrender kind of like the nitty gritty. Like, if your higher power actually loves you, well, then maybe you're worth loving. I mean, other people might not think you're loving, but hey, if your higher power thinks you're worth loving, that's probably enough. I mean, am I right? So the other thing about getting sober is staying sober. So how do you stay sober? Well, you stay sober by serving other people. So one of the things I love doing whenever you have a new sponsee is, you have them like do random things. I heard a great story about a guy who he had this sponsor who showed up, and the sponsor was like, hey, yeah, so so-and-so's birthday is next week. You mind making him a cake? And the guy was like, okay. So he made him a cake, and he brought in like boxed cake, and the sponsor threw the cake in the trash and said, no, I want you to make a cake from scratch. So the guy comes back on the next morning and he makes a cake from scratch, and he brings the cake, and well, every single week the sponsor would say, hey, would you mind making a cake for this guy? And so this guy gets newly in sobriety. He's like, man, I just have made so many damn cakes. Like, what am I doing with all this cake? And finally goes, the guy says, well, why am I making cakes all the time? He says, well, are you drinking while you're making cakes? He said, well, no. And he said, well, there you go. I have another cake for you to make. So the idea here is that as long as you're making cake, or you're making coffee, or you're meeting with a sponsor, you're meeting with a sponsee, you're staying sober during that period of time, right? So, and what's keeping you sober during that time is usually some aspect of service to others. Even if you go to a meeting and you don't share, right? Just your presence, you're listening to somebody else's life, that is you serving. You are there to validate what's happened in their life. You're there to validate their journey, and that actually is a service. Believe it or not, just showing up to a meeting is service, and it is keeping you sober if you go for that reason. So getting sober is about learning how to love yourself, learning how to see yourself as your higher power sees you, not learning how to see yourself kind of like as the you suck voice sees you, or as your worst enemy in high school saw you, but really learning how to see yourself as your higher power sees you. And then staying sober is all about serving others. So, service gives us the outlet so that love doesn't sit and stagnate in our hearts. So as we learn to love ourselves, we learn to give that love away. And then that love kind of comes back to us in the form of the desire to serve some more. And so then we begin to see our lives not as what can the world bring to me, not I want all the snow cones in the world because I am being sober, but rather it's you kind of develop this desire to want to give snow cones to everybody around you. It's just a great way to be. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like the video. And I just hope that it provided a wonderful jolt of sobriety to your day. You have a great day, all right? I mean you right there. Hit the like button and then go have a great day. All right, we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye now.